This podcast is brought to you by Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, powered by Kangaroo Fern Media Lab. Kangaroo Fern is Australia's independent video and podcast management agency with the mission to help individuals and entrepreneurs to start their own podcasts and harness the power of podcasting. Book now via www.kangaroofern.com.
A Kangaroo Fern production.
A Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate.
Thing we can do is just get stops and run. Stops and run, guys. Push, push, push every time.
Extra session with Kiko Malicdem tackles everything about the world of sports, especially the one close to the host's heart, basketball. Updates, discussion, clarification, name it. Extra session has it. Extra session with Kiko Malicdem. Okay, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Extra Session with Kiko Malicdem here in Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate Philippines. And today we have a very special guest. He's a former basketball standout and a member of the first team All-American. And if that's not enough, he's regarded as the best freshman in the country by ESPN HS back in 1992-1993 season. He has traveled a lot places in his basketball career, including here in the Philippines for the Tanduay Ram Masters in the PBA back in 1999. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, basketball fans, Mr. Ronnie Fields.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Sir Ronnie, good day. Nice to have you in our show. How are you doing right now, especially, after the pandemic has struck the entire world?
Well, for me, even during the pandemic, I was able to pretty much still run a lot of basketball camps. We still done the basketball stuff like social distancing and doing a lot of different things that, can pretty much, keep kids active. I mean, it's hard, when you're a young kid and you're used to playing a sport and all of a sudden it's taken away from you for a year or so. And sometimes you kind of take it for granted. But we were still able to manufacture some activity as much as we could during the pandemic. And now that things starting to die down and get better, a lot of kids here, especially in America and in the basketball world, is so happy to get back on the floor and play.
Yes, sir. I've been watching the NBA playoffs recently. Man, I envy the people there. They're able to watch the games live already. It seems things are going back to the usual ways. Now, let's go back to the beginning. How did you get involved into basketball? How did you get into basketball itself?
Well, it was I guess, here in the United States and probably in parts of the world, but more so in the United States, but especially in Chicago. Mm-hmm. A lot of things in Chicago is like basketball breaded, where we went to the playground. Mm-hmm. And we just started playing, watching older guys. Of course, at the time, you watching the Bulls and the Pistons, the rivalry games, having Isaiah Thomas that's from Chicago play with the Pistons. And of course, my favorite player of all time, of course, is Michael Jordan. Yeah. And watching those rivalries. So back then, everybody would watch the games and then go to the playground. And we try to do those things that we mimic off TV.
Oh man. So who do you consider your mentor growing up?
By far, I mean, watching MJ, I a lot of greats. I mean, like MJ, Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, there's a lot of great players that I admire so much to watch, and Clyde Drexler. And the thing about back then when you watch basketball, and the era where it was physical, to where, it showed you a lot about yourself. Mm-hmm. It let you know back then if it's for you or not in terms of what you can take. Mm-hmm. If you look at the players now, I mean, a lot more skilled players. Nowadays, I mean, a lot of great players. I mean, this, the league is still in a great place. I still enjoy watching it. But like I said, for me, it started on the playground.
I see.
I didn't have like trainers like that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't have a lot of facilities like now in the U.S. We got facilities built for travel ball, AAU, everywhere.
Yes,
So for us, it was a lot outside playing on the playground.
I see. And was that any disadvantage? Because of course you were this little guy. I mean, competing against taller guys. Was that
Yeah,
any disadvantage?
you know what was crazy? It was kind of fun, even though
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at it like that, that they was getting the better of me. It
Mm.
was the fact of just the opportunity to get out there and play with them.
Wow.
So I took every minute or every advantage that I could learn
Mm-hmm.
and get out there, and I used it.
Mm-hmm.
So as I started playing and growing and getting better, that started being a lot easier for me.
I see. Now, it was reported that you had this 50-inch vertical lip. You know,
Yeah,
was this
that's true.
wow?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's accurate.
I can just
Yeah, I
imagine.
did. I did.
How I mean, how were you able to accomplish this? Was this hours in the weight room?
No, I tell people this. You know, some guys can jump, some guys can probably fly, but
Mhm.
it's very few got great body control in the air with their ability. And I was probably one of the very few. You know, some of my favorite players and friends are guys like Vince Carter. Is my, you know, love him. One of to me, the greatest dunker ever.
Yes.
Jordan, of course, is my most favorite player ever. But
Mhm.
those guys, in terms of like comparison, do some of the most magnificent things I've ever seen.
I see.
So for me, that's about 6'3", and they about 6'6". It was a little bit more like wow. And
Yes.
for me to jump over a player like 6'8", 6'9", dunking on them, body control. And I think the first time I shocked myself, and when I actually dunked the ball, I
Mhm.
think I was in 7th grade. And I took off from the free throw line and dunked the ball from the free throw line. And that's when I knew, I said, okay, something ain't normal about me.
But I can remember when I was in 7th grade, I was very happy if I could make a tap board. If I could tap the board, and then here you are telling me that you could slam the ball. Oh man!
I know. Like I said, it wasn't back then. It wasn't normal for a 7th grader to do the things I was doing,
Yeah.
and I was kind of surprised.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
So back then, when you showed your skills, were you do you have this target already of playing in the big leagues?
Well, you know what? Yeah, because back then it was more top playground and
Mhm.
NBA.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Who will be, who can be the toughest, the most physical, the most aggressive. That's how I was brought up playing, especially from Chicago.
Yeah.
If you don't play like that here in Chicago, you're gonna get your butt whooped.
Yes.
So for me, I started realizing special things as I got into high school. Just fortunate I had the car accident, but being able to dominate as a freshman, I think I started playing with the high school varsity team as a freshman. I averaged like 17 points a game
Wow.
my first year in high school. My second year, I was 21. My third year is when me and Kevin Garnett teamed up, and I averaged 25.
Mm-hmm.
And my last year, I averaged 34.1.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's almost double. I mean, the average was double compared
every
to the
year.
first year.
So what I did was every year I added and got better and better. If you look at the numbers, they went higher.
Yes.
And I still was able to win. See, one thing is to start averaging a lot of points and not win.
Yes.
I was still able to win and still average those points. And then that was the year, my last year, where I had my accident.
Yes. Now you were saying that I mean about Kevin Garnett. You were raised in Chicago, played with Farragut Academy, and then you were teammates with KG.
Yeah.
You were like this tandem inside the basketball court. How was it playing like? I mean, alongside KG? Was he that animated as what people saw him in the NBA?
No. Well, I'll tell you this. When you come to Chicago, if you ever been here,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to force you to play animated. If you don't, guess what's going to happen? They're going to eat you alive.
Oh.
So once he got here, we had the right people around him, including myself and some other guys up here that, that's highly respected. We'll put it like that, to make sure everything was good. And then, Kevin, the only thing his thing was just go out there and play. We going to look out for you. And, and that's when you start seeing, like I said, he's one of that's the best teammate I ever played with. And not only that, his skill set for his size was not even seen in the NBA at the time.
Yes.
And so once he got to the NBA at that size, because this is the thing, Kevin can run point guard in practice and start to break and throw alley-oop lobs to me. So, and he's shooting 3-pointers, and his passing was amazing. So, like I said, we probably go down as the best high school tandem, especially in Illinois, ever.
Okay, so were you good friends?
Yes. We great friends. I mean, like I say, one of the best teammates. I had a lot of great teammates. But like, in order to do what we was able to do, it had to be like, you got to put your egos to the side. Because most times stars team up, it's like, who gonna be the man? Or go, like, we wasn't like that. It was like when Kevin, even though he was coming to Chicago, which is my city, I was like, hey, you the veteran. I'm still, he was a year ahead of me. So I'm like, hey, you take the lead and I'm a roll with you.
I see. So you want to start a podcast, or perhaps you've already started one, but you're still unclear on how you can actually make this podcasting work. No worries. That's why we're here for you. We are Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, powered by Kangaroo Fern Media Lab. Join our network. Contact us at info@kangaroofern.com, because we're stronger together. Okay. Now, yes, go ahead.
So that's what made it easy for us to dominate the way we did.
Now, the accolades kept on coming to you, as you were considered as one of the best prospects. Do you have intention before to go to college or straight to the NBA?
Oh no, I was going straight to the NBA. I was, before the accident, I was going to leave out. I was, going easily one of the top 20 picks.
I see.
Now,
yeah,
I was easily. So, like I said, I had having a setback, but the biggest thing what I learned, you learn a lot from it. And sometimes it can deter you from your goal. Correct. At the end of the day, your goal, could be to play ball, period. And sometimes if it's not the NBA, you don't, like for me, I was fortunate to be able to come back and play out the car accident.
Yes.
So I was just happy to even play, period, regardless of where it was at.
Now, based on what we read, you were the first sophomore in high school to be able to play in a game at the Nike All-American Camp in '93, along with Allen Iverson, Ron Mercer. How was the experience of playing with these guys?
The funniest thing, before the All-Star games, who was my partner, my teammate, the whole camp before they picked the team? Allen Iverson. I was the starting 2 guard. He was the starting 1 guard. We was on the same. Yeah, we was on the same team already. So, I think what was so crazy, people like, man, you got to deal with those 2 guards. Yeah, and then of course, Ron Merson, KG, Antoine Jameson, Toby Bailey. I mean, the lineup was loaded.
Yes, and that was that something that you would cherish, because man, that was something for you, especially they are a year or 2 ahead of you, and you're just a sophomore. That was something.
It was. I tell what's so crazy. I tell people this. So like that year at Nike camp, what happened was You know, they call out the freshman all-star game, the sophomore all-star game, and then the junior all-star game, then the senior all-star game, right? So they call out the freshmen. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not with them. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna be with the sophomore. So I'm like, okay. So they call out the names of the sophomore. I'm like, okay, damn, I didn't make the sophomores. I'm saying to myself, I know I played real good. Then they call out the juniors. I was like, come on now. I'm better than half of these guys here. And then the shocker was when they called the big all-star game and they called my name. I was like, wow, I made that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that was something.
I was the only sophomore to ever make that game in history.
Okay. Now you told us earlier you had this car accident, you know, and after that happened, did you ever think that your basketball career is over?
Well, if that would have happened at the age of 28, 29, maybe even 30, I would have thought yes. I would have probably said yes. But when you're a young kid, you know how you're a young kid, you think you like invincible, like you can run into a wall and you'll be okay.
Yes.
That's how I thought then. So in my mind, I was like, oh, how long I'm gonna be out? A month? They like, no, longer than that. Oh, but I'm gonna still be able to play. So my mindset was on just getting back. So I didn't think about like, oh, the career was over because I was only like 19. But if I was older, yeah, that probably would have shook me a little bit more.
I see. Now, how were you able to bounce back from this adversary? You know, I mean, this is something
basketball.
unique.
You know why? You know, when people in life say they love and cherish basketball, some people don't realize what that really means. And what it means, to me in a moment is when everything can be stripped away from you of being one of the most talented players to ever come out of high school, and then you get injured. But then if you really love the game in your mindset, you fight for the next opportunity to get back. So for me, loving the game the way I did, it was able for me to just fight and get back on the floor because I loved it so much. So basketball saved me in so many ways.
Yes.
And it put me in a lot of situations to play around the world, come to the Philippines, play in all these countries and learn so many different things at an early age.
I see.
Because I came to the Philippines, I was only like 20 some years old.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? I was only like, what, 21, 22.
I'm not sure, but you were young. You know,
because I came in 99, right?
Yes, 1999 for Tanduay.
And I graduated in 96.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a baby.
And that was 3 years after that accident.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And people didn't know it. I wasn't even fully back 100% yet.
Oh, man, that was amazing. So how long was the recovery for you?
Oh, man. From a mint, like I still was able to play and play well, but not really get back to me. It took about 6 years.
I see.
At least 6 years to feel comfortable making certain moves, certain drives, certain attacks in the basket, certain things physically. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back. I feel that. I felt good doing this move. I felt good doing that move. So that's when I started realizing, okay, I'm almost back to Ronnie Fields.
Yes. Now, you put your name in the 1998 NBA draft, but you know, you went undrafted. Did you expect this to happen?
Yeah. Because the thing is, when you go to the NBA pre-draft camp, what happens is you go through a lot of doctors.
Oh, okay.
And you got to think, I was fresh right off the accident. I wasn't even nowhere near ready. So when they was in there testing me, at least 6 doctors, and they tested the area where my neck had a plate in it. Okay. And it did not feel right. I was trying to not show that I was in pain, but they knew it.
Okay, I see.
So it was like, at the time, you not finna gamble on drafting the kid that we don't know if he get hit in that area, could he be paralyzed or he be able to play again?
Yes, I see.
So that was a hard gamble for any team to invest millions of dollars
Mm-hmm. Now,
in, you know.
yes. Now, however, like what you said, this didn't push you down. It's in fact it motivated you, and of course, you were able to travel the world to play basketball, including here in the Philippines. How was the experience playing in the Philippines? What was the fondest memory you had in the PBA?
Well, for me, what the fun part about it was like, like I said, I wish I was able to come as I got a little older
Mm-hmm.
because then understanding. But I think the pace of it, the action, the fans that were so into it,
Mm-hmm.
and the fast pace of it,
Mm-hmm.
like just getting used to that adjustment. See, if I would have came over there like 27 or 28, I probably would have even been dominant.
Mm-hmm.
But I came a little bit out the injury that I was still getting over.
Yes, yes, I see. Do you still remember some of your opponents or teammates?
I know one team that was really good at the time that was like, we had good battle was Alaska Milk.
Oh yeah. Yeah, one of the
It was like Sonny Alvarado was our big man, and the other guy was
Eric
about
Mink.
Eric.
Mink.
Yeah, I love Eric Mink. Matter of fact, Eric, I think sent me a Facebook, Instagram, maybe a couple months ago or a
Mm-hmm.
year ago. Yeah, I remember those guys.
Yeah, good old, good old times. Well, in fact, Eric was a one-time MVP for the league. He won it around 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric. I mean, like those guys. Like I said, the team I played with, it was just for me. The coach didn't know how to coach me.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know how to coach me. I think if you watch in terms of everywhere else I played, I dominated as a scorer, and we still won.
Okay.
But when it's like putting the ball in the scorer's hands, you got to know what position to put him in
Mm-hmm.
and let him play, and let him be him. Because any great scorer you watch over the history know how to score and know how to set up a game.
Yes.
You got to study the NBA, those type of players. I'm like, oh, he can get to any spot on the floor. And then you playing within a team concept.
Yes.
But if I'm coming over as your best player, you should do a little bit more like research.
I see. Now, you prove your worth as a basketball player, especially in the CBA. As you torched the hoops, you showed your defensive skills. Did you feel contented with what you have accomplished in your basketball career?
What's so crazy is that
Mm-hmm.
when you're able to dominate in a lot of parts, especially one of that league at the time when it was real tough too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I matured and just showed what I was capable of doing. I think sometimes it was like, it's not a fact of even being able to play at that level and be dominant, because all the guys in the league around my era, and even the Jordans, the Bibbins, all those guys know what I'm able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm respected by all of my peers.
Okay.
And when you respected by your peers, they know what you're capable of.
Yes.
So I don't have no regrets.
Now, after playing with the 1999 PBA season, did you receive any calls? To return to the league?
Well, at the time, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really look at it that way because I was still young and building.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a little bit of time off when I got back to refocus on just getting back to that player. And I wanted to like establish myself back at home, because people got to understand, I was still only like 22 years old.
Yes.
So I was still finding my way as a professional basketball player in terms of what my skills and what I need to get better at still at the professional level.
I see.
So it was almost like a freshman, sophomore, like college experience in a way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you think your skills before, your set of skills, would be able to compete with the set of skills of the players in this era?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because in this era, you get to the free throw line easy, which I do, and I shoot
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look, you blow on me, they call a foul. I mean, like, and I'm, you know me, I'm aggressive. I attack the basket a lot. If you look at the
Yes.
guys now, and I'm great in the mid-range area. So I'll be living at the free throw line like James Harden. Shit, you can't touch nobody.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about this era. Um, Last year, well, and sort of this year, teams have played in a bubble. Do you think uh you would, if you were still playing, would you have, would you have survived playing in a bubble?
Listen like this. Okay. The bubble is almost like here we call it AAU basketball, right?
Oh yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's like all the teams go to one place and they play in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it, you just playing a round robin tournament, you playing a few more games.
Okay.
Because it ain't no fans, it just is like everybody in one location. So it's nobody really have an advantage.
I see. That would be
You
good
know.
for you.
Oh, I like playing, but for me, I
Yeah.
like playing on the road. I like playing on the road at the other place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I play my best basketball on the road.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one more questions before I show you some pictures to describe it. I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind. My last question would be, if you had a chance to change anything from the past, what would it be?
You know what? That's because the person I am today, that's kind of hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I don't want to change anything that puts me where the person I became today. Because I don't think I'll become who I am today if I didn't learn from those experiences and understand mistakes and things that happened back then. So it's hard to say that when you progressed in life through all the things that have happened. It's hard to say because you're doing well. You learned a lot of different things. Now, if it was the other way around and things didn't turn out the right way and things didn't get better and I didn't learn, then I'll be like, oh, I regret this, I regret that, I regret this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's certain things that if you smart and you care about growing in life and you change a lot of things and you help a lot of people, you already don't want to regret that because it taught you how to learn and change and help people and help yourself.
I see. Now, before we end this recording, I'll show you some pictures. Tell me the first thing, that comes to your mind when you see this, okay? We are Independent Podcast Network. We are Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate. Would you like to hear your brand while supporting quality podcasts? Contact us now at advertise@guerrillapodcastsyndicate.com.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was your jump over Sergio McLean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was. You got a picture when I had my halo jumping over Sergio McLean.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking event at my daughter's school, my accident, KG. Oh, the picture, the plaque with me and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mike, Bibby. Yeah, all of the guys on there, man. All of the guys. Yeah, man, that brings back a lot of memories, man. I mean, to be able to have a lot of those things and so many other things that you've been a part of or people you've been compared to or teammates with. And today it still lives after all of those years to still be noticed 20 years later as one of the greatest ball players to ever come out of Chicago, athletes to play basketball is still amazing.
Now, this I was, when I saw this, man, I mean, I I had a hard time looking for a picture of you when you were playing here. But then I saw this. This is the only picture that I saw.
Oh man, I love them uniforms. I love those uniforms. I did the look. That's one place I did want to come back there to play though. Yeah, I love those uniforms.
Yeah, and then there was Sonny Alvarado, and then
Yeah, Sonny Alvarado.
Daniel
Hey,
Defonso.
those, hey, do those guys still come over there? Do y'all still have the league?
Oh yeah. Well, right now it's still, they're still planning because of the pandemic.
Okay.
Um, you know, things are being planned so that when they play, it would be hassle free. But then uh, Eric, I believe, retired 2 or 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. 4 years.
Oh wow, he played a long time.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, Sonny Alvarado was banned from the league because he was, he was not a Filipino. It was upon,
He
investigation.
was wait man, he wasn't Filipino.
Yes.
Oh wow.
That happened. That was in
Oh
2001,
wow.
if I'm not mistaken.
So they banned him from over there. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh son. He didn't look Filipino to me.
But now,
That's crazy.
now,
Wow.
what advice would you give to aspiring basketball players?
You know what I always tell people is in terms of when you want to play this game and you work hard at it, you got to be prepared to go through the difficult times of failure
Mm-hmm.
to succeed.
Yes.
And that means like if you don't get it right away, that don't mean you give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part is be willing to give it your all until it show you that it's probably not for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to at least willing to go through the grind and the hard work and the listening and the coaching to see how great of a player you can be.
And then, do you have, children that, because of course, if you're a basketball player, the first thing that people will tell you, if you have children, do you have, do they have any intention of following your footsteps in sports?
Well, I have a daughter. My daughter, she just, like she went for business management. She didn't want to play no ball. And then I got two nephews. They actually do play.
I
They
see.
play basketball right now in college here
Oh,
and stuff. And then I train a lot of the young kids. And then also I have a lot of those kids in my basketball camp right now.
I see.
Yeah.
And do you have any message for your fans, supporters, and family?
For me, like all the people that have been there and stuck with me through my whole life and career, fans that have followed me that I met from Venezuela, um, Greece, Puerto Rico, Philippines, all the countries that I have played in. Like I met some great people, some beautiful times in those countries I played in. And just the support from fans that enjoyed and watched and followed me. Like, I love them. I'm thankful, for just to, have so many people just to be, love what I bring to the table and just to, just win and enjoy, what I'm doing and they enjoy what I'm doing.
Okay. So, I know I have taken a lot of your time, and
Oh,
I'm
no
very,
problem.
very, very happy that you gave me this opportunity to actually talk to you since, uh, you are considered as one of the best players. In in the history of basketball that have never played in the and in the NBA. Yet
Yeah.
you are. The respect is there for you. The people always remember you as one of the best players to have played the game. Now, thank you again. I know this wraps up the episode for this week. I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Ronnie Fields,
Oh,
for
no
the time.
problem.
We are grateful for the time that you have shared to us. I wish you everything well that you do, and I hope we can do this again soon. you know.
Anytime, just reach out to me. I don't mind. Just let me know, and I come back on with you. tell all the Philippines and the fans, I know I ain't been there in a long time, but I had a great time there. I really enjoyed it. I miss Hotel Otakoi. That's where I stayed at. Yeah. Yes, and I want to get back there just to come visit one day.
Yes, especially you're into training and coaching also, right?
Yeah, I train, I do skill development.
Mhm.
And that's one of the biggest things I'm doing. I'm thinking about doing it and traveling in parts of the world, just doing training and skill development.
That's great to hear. So, okay. So, in behalf of the Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kiko Malicdem. And like what I've been saying, games are always exciting if there is extra session. Thank you for listening. Make sure to visit our website at www.guerrillapodcastsyndicate.com, where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. You can also join the conversation with Guerrillas RV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please consider on making a donation to help us keep making the podcast you love. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.